Here we are in year 2, episode 7 of the Simple Success Podcast. And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
Coaching happiness. Coaching happiness. Oh, I like it when you say that. When you change you change everything. I'll look for tips on that. Meanwhile, tell me how to round investments. Today, we're making the magic leap to investment rounds and how they work. Investment rounds? Sounds like a weird British cracker or something. Let me explain what an investment round is. It's when you raise money for your business. Cool. In the last show, you said you were going to explain investment rounds in a future episode, and you told me to remind you. So I am reminding you. Thanks, TT. That was so helpful. Now let's get into it. Okay, what do you mean? What are they? They are different types of funding rounds. The one you start with is called the seed funding or angel round. Angel? Like in the angel investor thing we talked about last year? Yeah, that's the thing. Episode 52 at the end of last year. Yeah, and seed funding? This is where you take some of your savings and put them towards starting up a new company. You can also source funding from family and friends. And they stay friends? That's the idea, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is the pre-seed funding round. The pre-seed round is where you start raising funds before you even launch your product. Isn't that called a lick and a promise? Oh yeah, all the time, DT. Company founders often use this round to raise startup capital to launch their product. Okay, cool. Angel investors, also called seed investors, are the best for this round, partly because of their investment experience. Angels with wings and all? Well, angels with financial wings. Angels are individuals who invest in startup businesses. They don't typically make large amounts of money off their investments. They tend to invest in smaller amounts at lower valuations. And I'll bet they eat small potatoes, too. No comment on that one, DT. These are relatively simple agreements. They usually prefer to invest in companies with strong management teams and products that will be successful. So they can invest in a great startup idea? Exactly. They don't necessarily have any experience running a business themselves. That's different. Instead, they look at startups as a way to make millions of dollars by investing in other people's ideas. Like an MSI of sorts, right? Exactly, DT. Good connection. May everybody get that idea. And may it sink in during
break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us. Please head over to the support link in our written show notes. That's the words on your podcast player. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month doing level of support, a $4.99 knowing level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month. Great place to start, whichever you choose. Thank you so much for helping us do this for you. And to leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes. You'll go to a site where you can leave a video, audio, or text-only message, depending on how you feel at the moment. You can also send us an audio file attached to an email if you use just more than your phone for stuff. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. It's all in there, and it's all easy. Let's come back from the break with more details about rounds. What kind of rounds? Investment rounds, of course. Oh, not the cracker kind. Cough, cough, cough. So after the preceding and seeding stuff, you get the real rounds, the series A, B, C, and so on. Okay, that's much clearer. The seeding stuff comes from the angels, right? Oh, yes. They can also provide advice and mentorship to the founders. In exchange for what? Using their time and expertise. Angels make an exchange for equity in the company, as well as payments for services provided. I knew it. There's always got to be a give and take. Well, of course. That's natural for anything involving market share. And you're giving them equity? Yeah, for their money and their continued investment. The amount of equity depends on what you agree to and the type of angel investor. Example. Okay, if the angel invests less than $100,000, he or she might receive 1% of the company. But if the angel invests between $100,000 and $500,000, he or she might get 5% of the company. Is this the standard? No, it varies from one deal to another, and there are some really good methods of properly doing that. Some angels want 10%, some 20%, and they may have a limit as to the total amount they'll put in no matter how much interest they get. What is the next round of investment? Well, equity rounds are where the real fun begins.
Fun?
Yeah, the next round of investment usually involves Series A funding.
Series A funding?
Yeah, Series A funding is when companies start looking for larger amounts of capital.
Like what?
Series A funding. Typically, it ranges from $250,000 to $750,000.
So the first round was pre-seed, then seed. Now we're talking Series A.
Exactly. With Series A funding, you'll need to focus on building out your product and marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy?
Yeah, this is why you need the additional capital. When you launch a new product, you'll need to build up a customer base.
Customer base?
Right. You'll need to find people who are willing to buy your products.
Oh, the sales pitch. The easy part.
Yep. You'll need to convince them to buy your products. You'll need to market your products to customers. At this stage, investors aren't just interested in great ideas. They're also looking for companies who know how to execute them well.
Explain, please.
They're not interested in just any company. They want companies with good ideas and solid plans for making them profitable.
So, which type of investor gives this additional funding?
Well, mostly venture capitalists or VCs.
Venture capitalists?
Yes, VCs will often fund companies during the Series A phase.
Why?
Because they see potential in the startup. Venture capital firms look for startups with strong management teams and a clear vision.
Well, that's better than a weak management team and a cloudy vision.
Yeah, right. They like startups with experienced managers who have been successful before with product strategy.
That's called a track record.
Yes, they want to make sure the startup has already proven itself before they take an equity stake.
Like I've been there, done that.
Yeah, that is business model works. They want to make sure the company has a viable business plan.
Sure beats having no plan.
Yep.
And why do they care about this?
Well, venture capitalists don't want to waste their money investing in companies that won't succeed.
Is there another startup funding round?
That's right, Series B funding, or growth funding round.
What does it involve?
Series B funding is when companies raise enough money to the nearest dollar to expand their operations.
Expand operations?
Yes. Successful startups show growth by hiring more employees, opening more stores, expanding operations internationally, etc.
I'm guessing there's a Series C round. Am I right?
Of course. Series C funding is when companies grow large enough to become publicly traded.
Publicly traded?
Yep.
Are those all the rounds of funding?
No, there's one more.
One more?
Yep.
Wait, let me guess. It's D round.
Nope.
How many rounds of funding does a private company go through?
Did you just ask a question and not let me answer it and then change the subject?
Guilty.
I think you need that second break.
Only if you tie this whole round thing into investing.
Sure thing, DT.
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es bueno, sebo. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it, and you win too. Before that second break, I promised to tie in the whole round thing to investing.
That you did, John.
And here goes.
Good luck.
Thanks, but none needed. It's easy, and you implementing it is just another way to visualize success.
Flattery will get you somewhere, I think.
Just like rounds of a company get going and get an investor going too.
What's the tie?
MSIs.
How so?
Choosing a comfortable level of exposure for you in buying in is how you get that one MSI rolling in your life in a way that lets you sleep.
So don't do seeding?
I didn't say that. Just understand it and be true to yourself about whether or not you're comfortable there.
How about if I don't invest at all?
Well, we've been there, DT. It doesn't work.
Is it okay if I practice a little?
I was hoping you'd say that. Warm things up a bit. You have such a February face, so full of frost, of storm and cloudiness.
Much ado about nothing as usual, John.
Ooh, Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare.
Practice, you were saying? Before we blowed this investor meeting?
Yeah, so like you,
Meaning you, the listeners.
right, you the listeners as well as me can get good.
Okay, yeah. Anything else?
Dag.
Oh, you Simlish guy, DT.
Gracias por escuchar.
A la prochaine. Are you still here? Cool. This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King John Brandy, Fact Checker Abraham Lincoln, French Consultant Virginia Mitchell, Media Expert Favor Bossy Ek, Psychologist Sigmund Freud, Rabbit Hole Advisor Dr. Marg Parrott, Sound Designer Goodly Amo Marconi, Spanish Consultant Cameron J.K. Brandy, Videographer Alfred Hitchcock, Audio Props Les Paul, Inspiration Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale.
We also have a website, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message. But, of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to actually get links and stuff. I mean, I could read the URLs where you can subscribe, support, or leave one of those video or audio messages, but you really don't want me to do that. And those explicit and clickable links are in the show notes.
Finally, you can find us on Podmatch, where we consider guests as well as consider guesting on other people's pods.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound, and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, both on freesound.org.
Paul.